Hey everybody, how you doing, John?
Hi, Andrew. Happy Friday the 13th.
Mm.
And were you lucky today? Did anything bad happen? Friday the 13th is.
It just seemed like a normal day so far.
I had a good day.
Cool. So just a reminder, as people come in, people who might be seeing this in the recording, you are here for Blowing Your Mind with Photoshop with me, Andrew Kavanagh, and my good friend John Williams, who created this wonderful graphic for the event.
Yeah, we have fun.
Okay, now we got people coming in. So Digital Diva SF, good to see you here. Serious Visuals. Hey, Drew, Chris from Tucson here. I can only stay for half an hour, but stoked to see it. Good. Lance from Hamilton, New Zealand. Good to see you here.
Nice.
Hannah's here.
Hannah's here.
We got Dennis Dunbar.
Dennis.
Happy Hopeful Friday from Santa Monica. Hopeful. And Annette is here. Annette Dragon. Hello, you too. Good to see you.
Annette.
Hannah, nice. Digital Hannah.
So it's not really Hannah, it's digital Hannah.
Soon to be AI Hannah.
My gosh. Pew, 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 pew.
So yes, Photoshop day today. Vector Diva. She's got all names for herself today.
Vector Diva. She has a costume for that. Like a.
Right. So before we jump in, did you want to say happy Friday 13th?
I wanted to extend a very happy.
There you go. Dun, dun, dun.
Friday the 13th, everyone.
Happy Friday the 13th. Sean's here. Good to see you here, Sean.
Hey, yeah. Hey, I'm back. What did I miss?
You're the co-host. You're not supposed to miss anything.
It does need a John Williams soundtrack. I don't want to get any copyright strikes against you, so I won't start humming tunes.
Yeah, John Williams deserves a John Williams soundtrack.
Yeah. Dun, 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 dun. Okay, that's it. Don't want to get in trouble.
All right, so before we begin, I just wanted to state that there is some nice and Art is here. Good to see you here, Art.
Hey, Art.
And just want to say, people who are fans of generative AI search. One thing I noticed is happening, and I'm going to make a prediction that there's going to be a big surplus of these coming out pretty soon. Is AI browsers. So I got an invite to an AI browser. I think it was called DIA, DIA. Yep, DIA. And another one is coming out through Perplexity AI. Not sure when that's going to be released, but my prediction is a bunch of them will be coming out. So that could be pretty interesting. Very good for writing and titles, descriptions, abbreviations for emails, etc. But today is Photoshop. And before we begin, just want to do a quick shout out first to StreamYard. So thanks StreamYard for making this possible. Live with StreamYard, streaming to Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. And I believe you can also stream to X, Twitter. And a little shout out to BenQ. I'm a BenQ ambassador. Thanks, BenQ, for wonderful monitors for the photography and Photoshop community, such as the BenQ PD3225U 4K Thunderbolt monitor. Very wonderful deep blacks, beautiful colors, always accurate and consistent colors. Thank you. And Andy Nichols is here. Long time no see from Wet Staffordshire in the UK.
All right.
Okay. So, John, we didn't set up your your presentation. So.
Let's do it. Okay, yeah, let's do that real quick. Okay, we got to push this button here and this button here. All right, so yeah,
can I jump on in?
All right, let's see. I'm going to. Yeah, why not? I'm going to do that, and we're going to do that. And look, yep, there we go.
Okay,
there it is.
So should I go first and just show some of the basic things and let you do some more kind of fun stuff?
You do what you want to do. This is
You get to do the fun stuff today.
Oh, no, it's all fun. It's all fun.
The
Yeah.
Rip is here. Yeah. Good to see
Hey,
you.
all right. Arif, man, got the gang's all here.
Okay.
Yeah, go for it, man.
So yeah, let me just do that. Okay, so add stage. Okay, so you can see multiple images, correct?
I do.
Okay, great. Okay, so yeah, I wanted to go over some of just the new features in Photoshop and then later on Photoshop Beta. But there's some pretty nice tools, very direct tools. Some of them not the most exciting, but just very beneficial, very good for production work, retouching work, etc. So first one is the selection brush tool. So if I'm in this image, I'm just hitting F to get a full view of it, pull the contextual taskbar down. And when I go down, you can just hit either the L key, or in my case, it's the third tool down. One thing I've become aware of, just be aware that with the toolbar, it's not the same for everybody. So the way that you configure it might shift the order of the different tools, but mine is third one down. If I right click, you can see selection brush. So it's just kind of a replacement for the quick mask. So if I zoom in, it's just a nice way that when you do a simple kind of outline around a figure like this, I'm not doing the best due to time, but just a general kind of outline up to top and then a little bit down for the hand. And then I can just choose a larger brush and then just kind of paint it in. So it's just kind of a, like I said, a replacement for quick mask. And in this case, if I wanted to, like say I was getting rid of this character, I don't even have to be exact. I could just kind of go around. So just a quick way as a way to make a selection. And once I do that, zoom out a little bit, you'll see in the contextual taskbar, I have the generative fill. So I can just hit generate just to basically tell it to erase the figure. And then
Andy agrees with your placement. He likes it. He likes it on the left-hand side too.
Which placement?
Yeah, you got yours on the right-hand side.
Yeah.
Anyway, he was vibing with you.
Okay, cool. So yeah, in the properties panel, you get the 3 variations. You can just click through. And also in the taskbar at the bottom, you'll see it says 1 of 3. You can just click the right arrow and kind of cycle through. I'm kind of a bigger fan of the properties panel, just to kind of have a quick visual view. There's that. And then let me see here.
I like the properties panel too.
Oh, okay. So this will be a good one. So let's see if I do a simple view. Okay, so if I then jump to this one and I go to the remove tool, and that you hit J. So hit the J key, get down to remove tool. So in my case, the remove tool, it's just underneath the spot healing brush tool. You can cycle through if you just hit the J key, but it's the second one down, remove tool. So of course, as the name implies, you could, and let me zoom in a little bit, you could go to, like, say you wanted one figure to be removed, you could just paint over it and then let go, and then it retouches it for you. Also, another way that it is helpful is once you choose the remove tool, you can go up to the options bar up here. You'll see where it says find distractions. Let me zoom out just a little bit. And when you click on find distractions, you'll see there's wires and cables and people. So if I click on people, it automatically will highlight and select those people. It took all of 3 seconds. And then you'll see in the options bar, and then it's set to under mode auto, may use generative AI. So you could technically, before you choose that, turn generative AI on, but auto, it's intelligent, so it knows what to do. I just go over to the right, click on the check mark, and it's now removing those selected or masked people in the museum.
Yay!
Yeah, pretty fast. It was very fast to select
It
them.
is
Yeah,
super fast. Yeah,
pretty fast.
super fast.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Let's
It's
see.
pretty
It gives you more.
good.
Yeah, it looks like yeah. If you choose the remove tool, the one thing that's a bit different than using the regular generative AI,
Yes.
it doesn't give you like a variation of 3. It just kind of removes it as
Right.
one, and then as you can see here, it didn't totally get rid of all the people.
Sometimes if you leave it on auto or AI, it will AI generate different people. Sometimes
Yeah, that too. That too.
weird looking people, but that's you do have some flexibility. You can turn that off if you want to.
Right. So this time, I'm going to see if it's any better if I go to the mode in the options bar up top, and instead of auto, say generative AI on, and then here I'm in the image. I'm already in the remove tool, so I can see find distractions up top. And this time I click on people again, and then that like took what 3 seconds, 2 seconds, and
Amazing.
it selected all the different people here. I just hit the check mark. Let's see how well it does. Getting rid of these people. Doesn't let me zoom in while it's doing that.
Right.
It's a little ding,
It's okay.
little ding bell.
Ding. It means
Ding.
stand by. Ding. So we're at the Louvre. We're at the Louvre, and there's these
right.
pesky tourists. We're going to say goodbye, tourists.
Wow, that did a pretty good job. So if I zoom in,
Yeah.
you'll see that it got rid of basically everyone except for a couple. And these aren't really people, but it looks like almost like a golf bag. I'm like, how'd that get there? But
There's an oddity there. There's an oddity.
yeah, since it's defaulting to the remove tool, I'll just go and then paint over, and then it's already removing the area for me. That's pretty good. And then there's like a trash can or something here.
But think about all the time that just saved you. Oh my.
Oh, it's so fast. Even the selection itself was really fast.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty cool.
I should have really made a copy to show you before and after. I can just go to the history. So here's the original, and then here's after the remove tool with the find distractions people. Pretty cool. And then let me do one more before I hand it over to John. So
it's all good, baby.
Yeah, cool. So the another way that it excels is with the removing of wires and cables.
Mm-hmm.
So in this case, I will make a just Command J, simple copy of that layer 1. And then, yes, if you were in the remove tool and you were trying to do this manually, you know, it would just take a while. And this is even a pretty simple version of it. I wanted to show you a more extensive one after.
Cool.
Yeah, even just to do one, and it didn't even really take it away, right? So Command Z to undo. I just go up to find distractions, wires and cables. And so this is interesting with the wires and cables one. It does not like show you a mask first. It doesn't show you this selection.
Right.
Whoa, but it does a pretty damn good job in terms of getting rid of. So yeah,
done.
Look at that. All those wires and cables gone.
It's just like they never existed.
And then, of course, if you zoom in, there are things you would have to correct. So, you know, there's this window over here. So, you know, it's a little bit lopsided on the right side. You might have cleaned that up.
Right.
But it did a pretty good job.
I mean, it didn't do everything for me. I'm so disappointed.
And then, of course, if there's like a pole here, it might not make sense at all that, you know, the wires are gone, but yet there's just a pole. So you might have to, you know, get your lasso tool, polygonal lasso tool, make a quick selection around it.
Can you do it? Can you do it?
Can you do it? Yeah, there it is. And then I'm holding shift to add to it and let go. And then I grab the bottom base of it. Let's see how seamless this will be. And then when you get to the little circle, oops, maybe it was already connected.
Sometimes it's hard to tell.
Yeah, I think it is. Hit Q. Yeah, I use quick mask review. So I did Q, and yes, it's one solid shape. So as you can see in the contextual taskbar, click on generative fill, hit generate, generating preview up top. And then you see you can get 3 variations in the properties panel.
and this goes by pretty fast. Sometimes it depends.
Yeah, some are faster than others, but
Yeah.
not bad. So it cleaned
Yeah.
it up and made the ocean pretty
Uh-huh.
seamless.
Yeah.
And it rebuild the wall here.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then of course it gives you variations, so a little bit of different kind of bush or brush.
Yeah.
And here it kind of built the edge of the wall up top. That's kind of well done, right? So these are lower, and then this one, like I said, it built up the wall to the top, which kind of looks more realistic to me.
Yeah.
But yeah, pretty good. So selections, removing with the wires and cables and people in Photoshop, and
Fantastic. And huge time savers.
absolutely.
Man, oh man.
Jump back in the room and let it be John's turn. So
It's John time. Here we go.
John time.
Dun, dun, dun. Okay. Here we have a young man wearing a lovely hoodie here. But let's say that for whatever reason, you want to change the color of it. So we have something new. Actually, am I in the right? Yeah, I know, right? You still got to have a little skill involved, Lance.
That's right. Yeah, so as Lance says, find it funny how many beginners think the AI tools will do everything, and then think they don't need to learn any of the old school methods. So a lot of times you might have to go back and use the clone tool, do some old school retouching too.
For sure. I couldn't agree more. And I'm okay. So I'm going to open this up. This is going to be fun. Okay. So we're in, this is Photoshop beta, by the way. So if you don't have Photoshop beta, you can go get the Adobe Creative Cloud app and just look for the beta on the side and just install that thing. It's definitely worth a look because there's some cool, exciting things like adjust colors in the contextual taskbar, which Andrew, that I love to say, contextual taskbar. And over here, we'll zoom in on adjust colors is a feature that we have here. So
nice.
Let's do this. So here's what I'm going to do. Okay, so I just clicked adjust colors on the contextual taskbar. That's all I did. And it gives you a little palette of the colors, the predominant colors in this image.
Nice.
You can find that image or that color of the hoodie, right? And we'll change that quite easily. So we see there's some bleed here on his face. So we don't want his face, but that's okay. So we'll get the hoodie that we want. So maybe we'll play with the saturation a little bit. Oh my, that's a that's a
neon hoodie.
Yeah, maybe we can bring the brightness down just a little bit. I don't know, just a little bit crazy. But yeah, you can just look at that. So pretty amazing right there. So let's say we get it to where I like this. Okay, that's fine. That's a great color, but you see we have a problem. Houston, we have a problem. It led onto his face there, and that's unacceptable, but that's easily remedied. And this is where a little bit of the Photoshop skill comes into play, that you have to do kind of your own self-help, but it's not a huge deal. All I got to do is click on the mask here and layers, and I'll zoom in on that right here.
Nice.
I'm going to click on, oops, there we go. Click on that. And I'm going to get my brush tool, hit B, and I want black because black hides, white reveals. Preaching to the choir, you guys already know all this stuff. And I'm just going to go in. And you can make a selection, or you could just use the brush tool, or however way you see fit to do this. And I'm not going to be super precise because you get the idea. We'll take that layer mask. And
yeah, pretty quick to clean that up. And
yeah, it's nice. So we restored his natural face color, and I'm going to hit X to get the white back, and I'm just going to go in and get this little area here that I kind of went overboard. Boop.
Right on the edge.
It's not 100% perfect, but you sure get the idea, don't you?
That's pretty good and pretty quick.
Pretty good. Pretty good. And yeah, there's another. So while we're here on that, and then you have and it's a layer mask, so it's non-destructive. Of course, you can go in and change it back if you need to. Double click on that, and just go back and change it again if you need to. So I love that. That's pretty handy. Again, a huge time saver. You can go back and do it the old-fashioned way. And yeah, showing you guys how to mask. I know it's like I'm showing you guys Photoshop 101. Sorry about that, but another cool new feature here I'm going to that I really enjoy is you can generate.
Oh, before you jump though, do you want to tell people with that if you go back to the hue saturation?
Oh, okay, sure, yeah.
Yeah, maybe, yeah, diesel. Just let people know what that is right there on the left side with the full colors. Yeah.
Oh, yes. Okay, yeah, you have the full. You have
The global.
the global colors. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Thanks. That's definitely worth mentioning. Absolutely. And so, yeah, this will change
A little bit of the background too.
a little bit of everything. So if you want to do that, you can go back and just make a selection just around his hoodie or just around him or whatever around the subject, which is fine. You can do that. That works just fine. Yep. Absolutely. Definitely worth mentioning. Yep. And I'm going to go back. All right. Oh,
less and less need for selections with these.
Yeah. So we have a little weird, I don't know, kind of a stain I noticed on this. So I'm going to go to the original picture and just go in, make my brush bigger, hit the right bracket key, and go bloop. Okay, well, almost close, but no cigar.
That's doing pretty good now.
Yeah, you can also use like Gen Fill if you want to go that route. That's fine too.
And Lance makes a good point where he says, I have found that the AI stuff speeds up doing what we have always done.
Yes.
Just lets you focus on the creativity side of things and spend less time on the mechanics for getting the result you want.
That's why they made it. And you just, you nailed the central point home. I thought that's how I feel as well. Yeah,
Oh, nice.
totally. So okay, what is this feature called? Help me out here. I'm gonna put do what?
Which one?
Oh, okay. So let's say you got a customer, or the client wants you to put like a mock-up or of a graphic right here on a shirt. So you could go into Gen Fill and do that, but there's a cool little thing here in Gen Fill. When I click Gen Fill, Generative Fill, there's a new thing on here. Or you have a reference image right there. That little,
good, yeah.
at the bottom of the screen. I'm sorry, I'm not placing.
So integrating with Firefly even.
That's correct, sir. You are correct. So let's do that. That'd be fun. So it turns out I have a I've got like a little.
And it's interesting, you can choose replace object or insert object.
That's right, replace object. So I'm going to put insert, and we'll just see how that goes. Fingers crossed. It should just like put that little graphic right on his shirt. And so yeah, and like you do with
oh, that's great, and it fits it right behind the hoodie as well.
That's right. It realized that, oh, okay, you want it on this this shirt here, and you have a couple of options where it kind of went over a little bit, but again, you can go in and just kind of fine tune it on your own if you need to.
And another nice feature is as you click on them, go to the second one. I think it is. Look at how it keeps the color theme.
So nice observance there. Yeah.
Keeping the color theme going.
Why, sure. Well, and I put it behind the color masks, so that's probably why. But I don't know.
Look like the first one was tucked behind, and the second one not so much.
Right. So if I put it above, because that screws everything up. Because I did the Gen Fill on that.
Oh, that's why it's under the hue saturation color.
Yeah.
That's why. I thought it automatically changed the color. But.
Yeah, if I had done that above, which I probably should have done, but I just wanted to demonstrate that
cool.
that's nice. Another time saver right there. So you could just put it right there on a shirt, and this one's fine. I like that one, but you have to go in and kind of redo his hoodie because he's kind of going over that, whereas on this one, it was kind of more under the hoodie, like natural. But again, demonstration, you can get the idea. So pretty cool. So you changed it. So here's
That one's tucked behind nice. So yeah.
yeah. So put this in a group so I can show you before and after, before, after.
Yeah, I was going to. Lance is saying exactly what I was going to say. The thing that I also like is what Lance likes. One thing I like with Gen Fill and Adjust Color is that it is its own layer. So if you need, you can adjust opacity, blend mode, etc., as well as that built-in layer mask. Right?
Very true. Yeah. What would happen if we were to
yeah, you can try different.
do like some blend modes on here? Try.
You get that liquid glass look that Apple is.
Yeah. So we're getting
pushing for the next update.
There'd be a little bit of like you'd have to go in and do a little fine tuning, which I am not against doing. Just go in and I probably wouldn't use a brush for this. I'm really weird. I'm old school. I love the pen tool. Is that weird? Yeah. You get such precision, the pixel point precision with the pen tool.
It takes a bit of time to get good at it, but once you do, it's quite nice. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. But don't listen to me. I'm a weirdo. You don't do what I do. But yeah, I could adjust the hardness of the brush here. I don't know. This would pump it up all the way to 100, and then let's see. I need black. There we go. Then you can go in and real super quick. It's not. Oh God, I'm doing a terrible job. Terrible. But it's non-destructive. That's okay. So.
Yeah, Dennis Dunbar is a fan of the pen tool as well. Pen tool.
If Dennis is a fan, then I must be on the right track.
And Hannah.
And all right, I'm on the right track then, I figured. Yeah. So that's good. I'm in good company.
Yeah, I used to have to do a lot of clipping paths with the pen tool.
Yeah. And anyway, you get the idea of going here and making this look natural. We won't waste time on doing that, but yeah, it's a nice new feature. And again, these will save you hours of time, potentially hours of time.
Cool. And Sean's also a fan of the pen tool.
And Sean,
we're all fans of the pen tool.
This is great. I feel validated.
Pen tool party.
Should I do more? Or
yeah, you want to do another feature?
Oh well, heck yeah, man, this is great. I was gonna do the remove people thing. I found this
let's see your version of it.
Better yet.
You're going to the Buckingham Palace, is that?
I had a Buckingham Palace picture, but instead I'm gonna do this. And oh shoot, my camera raw is over here, and it's it's full screen. How do I? Wait, hang on. There we go. Let's bring it over here. Okay, so this is a raw image here. So I'm in Camera Raw, which I'm also a huge fan of. Yeah. Camera Raw saved my life. I don't know. So yeah, we got this nice image.
Now, did you get to it through Bridge or through the filter in Photoshop?
I just double clicked it. You can do. I'm a big fan of Bridge too. Love Bridge. So you can do that. You can go that route, and I use Bridge all the time. It's great. Cool. But a nice new feature here. So you have this little scene, right? Pretty. I don't know where this is, but it's lovely. So new masking tool. This is a lot of fun. I love this. So I'm gonna zoom in here, and it's a masking tool. So a new one, landscape. So if we click on landscape, because that's what this is, it's going to Photoshop recognizes, Camera Raw recognizes that in this picture we have a sky, we have mountains, architecture, the little buildings, water, and natural ground, which is just that stuff. It kind of like included the natural ground with the mountains. So you can pick which ones it wants to make. So I think I'll skip the natural ground because it's kind of the same thing on here. So sky, mountains, and water. And we're going to create, and it creates several different masks. This is pretty neat. I love this. Yeah. So you see all your masks here. You got the sky mask, et cetera, et cetera. Then you can go in and adjust each one individually. So I'll bring the exposure up or down or whatever, and then it to you. I'm not going to do a whole lot with the sky because it's kind of blown out and gray. So I'm just going to skip down here to the mountains. And I don't know, you could use maybe a teeny nudge in the exposure direction. And this is, again, to your personal style, your taste, or whatever you're going for. You can do whatever. You can color correct, and you know Camera Raw. I don't need to tell you. Just the exposure.
Use some contrast, a little exposure.
Yeah, a little contrast. We'll get there.
Vibrance.
I'm going to bring up the shadows a little bit, because that seems to help a little bit. I'm bringing it up quite a bit, actually. And again, for this demonstration, I'm not going to. You can bring the saturation up. So yeah. Oh, one thing, clarity. Maybe dehaze it a little bit. Bring the background up a bit, if you so desire. Clarity, yes, please. Texture, sure.
Texture will be good for all that foliage.
Now for the yes, totally, yeah. For the foliage. And of course, you can still go in and add your own mask with the brush, as always with Lightroom and Camera Raw. How about with this? We bring these buildings up and brighten them up. I kind of like that.
Yeah, that's nice.
And maybe even shadows up, and then we can bump up the saturation, make them real vibrant.
So you jump to the architecture mask for that, right?
I'm in the architecture mask. So this is a really great feature, and I see myself using this an awful lot, because they already had recognize people, and it would take parts of people, like everything down from like the eye pupil to the sclera, in hair, teeth. I love the teeth part. That helps a lot. So yeah, and then we can go to the water and do something with that. It doesn't look natural if you bring it up too much. We want it to look natural. Maybe bring the temperature down. I don't know, or up. It looks polluted now. But
green swamp.
Yeah, a little green swamp. And of course, you can go in and adjust colors in here as well. So
nice.
Yeah. Okay, I'm not going to spend too much time on it, because I think by now you get the idea. But you could transform the image, and you can open it as an object, or open it as a new layer. Whatever floats your boat, baby. That's a nice new feature. Very exciting for photographers or people who do finishing work, whatever.
Nice.
Very exciting.
Cool.
Yeah. Hooray! Thank you, Photoshop. The Photoshop gods.
Okay. So let me jump back in. Okay. So back in. And then.
Yeah.
So let's see. Back to the images. I want to go back to this one.
I see Annette says she's a fan of the Camera Raw filter. That again, I feel validated.
Okay, so I'm back to this image again, and it's back to the original untouched. And then what happens is when you open up an image, you'll notice in the contextual taskbar you can select subject. So as an example, I just click on that. It selects subject. It also does select some of these other areas, which if I hit the Q key, you can see what's selected. But of course, I can just choose like the, let's see, I can, transform selection. I can do all these different selection tools here, but I can also just choose like the lasso tool, and then holding down the Option key, I can get rid of those. So I'm just cleaning that up. And then one thing that I really like now is using the power of this taskbar that they give us.
Mm-hmm.
They're letting you, they're suggesting things that you can do when you choose specific tools or features. Mm-hmm. So once I'm in that selection, if I click on this icon that looks like, kind of a square with the arrow going each way, each direction. When I click on that, you'll then notice there's a marching ants around the bounding box.
Oh, yeah.
Now chosen the background. So you can quickly inverse your selection, which is nice. And now I'm just going to deselect, Command D, and then just show you when I'm back here. Once again, you also have the option in the middle to remove background. So if I click on remove background, similar to the select subject, it's the same type of mask. So you do see some of the extra remnants. So after I do that remove background, I just choose a brush. And then with black as the foreground color, I'm just going to clean up these other remnants that float. Okay, so you got that. And then you'll notice that if I click over in the layers panel on the image, the contextual taskbar changes. But if I go back to the mask, you'll now see that there's an option for generate background or import background. So you can immediately import a background right into your image that way. Or if you say generate background, I can even choose something similar as the original image. So dark forest. I don't know, maybe I'll make it a little bit more of a mystery, and I'll say with strange creatures. Hopefully they won't be too distorted or cartoony or anything.
Too nightmarish.
Or Disney-esque on the opposite.
Oh, right. Yeah, there's that.
Okay, and then I hit generate, and then you see the preview progress bar up top pretty fast. And then as you can see in the properties panel, oh, that's pretty cool. So little demons, little dragon-y type of things mixed in.
Not too horrifying. So that's,
yeah. And I get 3 variations.
I still don't want to go there, but hey.
Don't go there. And then I can click on the different variations. So this one's a lot less scary than this one. Brighter too. Ooh, that one's scary though.
Stephen joined us. Yay, Stephen! Glad you joined.
Yeah. So you even got these kind of like scary creatures on this one.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So
okay.
One thing I wanted to show you that is quite nice is we have these 3 variations in the properties panel, but without even having to change or do any more work, I just go to the 3 dots in the taskbar and I choose generate similar. And just by doing that, it then generates a new 3 variations.
That's a nice feature. I love that new generate. Yeah, very cool.
So now we have a new different kind of look. These have a different kind of smoothness to them.
Oh,
so if I go to the original, it's kind of like almost a scratchiness. And
viney.
Yeah, and this is kind of like scratchy monster.
Yeah.
And then here it's kind of a smoother, kind of blurred kind of look. That's kind of nice, though.
I love that one for some reason.
Yeah, the second one, the top middle.
That one right there, yeah. That's kind of nutty. I love it.
And so if I click on top of the eye icon, you can see it's just literally cut out from the bottom one. But since I'm in that second layer that was just generated for the similar, as John showed a bit, do remember that you can just go up to filter, camera raw.
Yeah.
And of course, the figure's cut out, but I'm just working on the background. Right. I can then do some simple tweaks to kind of bump up the contrast of the background, pull the highlights down, make it darker, a little bump to the whites. And then if you go at the bottom right area, that's your toggle to the default settings. Just a quick preview. So I always do a little click before, after, and maybe a little bit more contrast. And then of course, if you go to color, you can change the temperature and the vibrance. So I'm going to bump up the vibrance a little bit. And then one thing that I always love about working in Camera Raw is anytime you see this icon, the eyedropper icon, once you click on that, first, I think you have to tell them what you want to focus on. So if I go to vibrance as I've done, and then I click on it, then when I go over to the image, that's just getting rid of it. So, okay, so that's not the, I thought it was the target adjustment tool, but that's related to the white balance.
White balance, yes. Yes, correct.
Which is what you would do in the beginning of an image, especially if you had a color cast.
Sure.
Using like a preset.
I've never had to adjust white balance ever in my life. Oh,
in
yeah.
your life. But
Okay, like daily.
but yeah, do understand that when you go to color and you go to white balance, if it's a JPEG, you'll just get as shot auto custom. If it's a raw file, you'll get a whole bunch of presets like Adobe, I think landscape, portrait, etc. So it's much more extensive if you're working on a raw file. And so therefore the eyedropper is when you want to choose like a neutral gray type of medium color that will get rid of a color cast. It's a nice way of working. Um, but the thing I wanted to show you that it reminded me of is, okay, so I do a simple color corrections. And then if I go down to say color mixer and I'm in the, have hue, saturation, luminance.
Oh,
If I'm in saturation
yeah.
and I wanted to add or subtract the saturation,
Right.
instead of going to the slider and saying, okay, is this green or aqua or whatever, I can go to this icon. So this icon over here, which is more like a target circle.
Right.
Once you click on that, then you get these three dots. So when you click on your image, you then get this kind of gradient.
Yeah.
So it shows you if I go to the right, I will be bumping up the saturation, and it reads color better than your eyes. So in this case,
thankfully, yeah.
Yeah, and so in this case, it's bumping up aquas up to like 38 and greens only like +1. Now, if I go this way, as you can see, it can desaturate. But it's nice, just kind of click and drag to adjust.
It's so cool.
And you also see there's a bit of a taskbar at the bottom of Camera Raw now too, where you can also jump over here to switch from saturation to hue, luminance.
Yeah.
And then if I click there, I'm in the curves. And then curves also has that target adjustment.
Oh man, curves. Curves and HSL, the color mixer, are so powerful. You can do so much.
Yeah, it's all there inside Camera Raw filter.
Yeah, I love that. Man, I use that so much more than I thought I ever would. Yeah, I love it.
And I'm a big fan of the color grading too. So like you have your midtones, shadows, or highlights. And here's all of them in one, but I tend to like to go to the larger view. So I can go to shadows. And so for shadows, I could kind of play, I could either move the hue slider, or you can just click exactly where you want in the color wheel here, color circle. So maybe I want a little bit of a bluish purple in the darks. So once I do that, it sets that. It does also jump it to 100 saturation. So I can either just move the slider back, or the way I kind of like it, just more visual, is you click on the circle and then you move it towards the circle. So if you go right to the middle, you're back to 0 saturation. And then if I'm here, that's like 50, 56, whatever. And that would be 100. Very easy to kind of work with it.
Yeah.
Just be careful if you move over here, then of course you can also change the color. So I could I want more of like a reddish kind of shadow.
Violet.
Yeah, it's kind of nice. Maybe I'll do that, but bring it back towards the middle. But yeah, all very, very quick, very easy. And then you just hit OK and you're back, and there's your image.
Yeah.
And the good thing is it then adds, as a smart filter, that effect to the variation of your generated similar generative AI backgrounds.
Yeah.
There it is, all with the same kind of color.
Non-destructive.
Adding it to, it even adds it to the first sequence of 3, which is pretty nice.
Sure.
So John pretty much kind of touched upon it already, but I did want to. Okay, so yeah, I didn't want to. I wanted to keep that. So I'm going to keep that. Just get out. Okay, yeah. So hit cancel if it wants to ask you to rasterize a smart filter. I wanted to keep that as a PSD. Okay, but what I was saying is.
Yes.
John touched upon it, but I wanted to, like with this image, bring it up. Just wanted to also go over adjust colors. So here I am in this image. I can just simply click on adjust colors, and then you have this nice variety of what the most prominent colors they believe to be of this image. And so I don't know, maybe for the yellows, I click that, and then I could bump up saturation, and so it isolates.
Mhm.
And you know, of course, anywhere there is yellow, it's going to. So it's not just the fish; it's also like on under her chin area, the reflection.
Mhm.
And of course, if you take it too far, it gets
Yay!
pretty bad. Um, yeah, so it's pretty nice. And then, of course, like I said, you could go to global, and then you could kind of give a color, kind of cast to the whole thing.
Yeah.
Bring it down. But yeah, just in general, one thing I would suggest is keeping your eye. Oh, and then beyond these colors, I believe the eyedropper here is suggesting that if I were to
Yeah.
adjust colors, it's not really letting me.
Yeah, I haven't played with that much, but I like the fact that you have an eyedropper there.
Right. Once I select an individual color, then I can click on the eyedropper, and then
Yeah.
not really letting me. It's kind of
Yeah.
teasing me.
Yeah, I don't know if that's
Like you would think that you would click on it, and there you would get the you know, like the orangish color would come up, but it still kind of maintains that same variety of 6 colors.
maybe it has some to go in its evolution, but
yeah, see, and it's focusing on the blue because that was the last color I chose. But I thought if you clicked on it, all right, whatever, it's new.
I thought so too. I thought so too.
Okay, cool. All right, so I'll jump back and let John show something next, and then I have one last thing I want to show in the Photoshop.
Okay.
Beta. Yeah.
I'll go quick. I got 2 quick.
No rush.
It's like, look at
Until like 15 minutes or so.
Okay.
So
and by the way, I wanted to say Happy Father's Day to everybody, even if you're not a father. Just hope you have a good weekend. So, speaking of fathers, okay, I've got. There's a lot to learn Photoshop. Yes, there is. After what?
Steven's here. Good to see you, Steven.
I'm glad you made it, Steven.
Okay, so let me share your screen.
How many years have you been in Photoshop, Andrew? 400 years?
1,000 years.
Russell Brown looks at you and goes, geez. But yeah, we've been reasoning for a long time.
If I'm 400 years and Russell Brown must be 600.
Yeah, you look great. You must moisturize. No, but anyway.
I had to trim myself from the graphic you made, though.
Oh my gosh, dude. So yeah, there's always more to learn, and I find that, which is exciting.
Always learning.
I love to learn, and I know you guys do too. That's why you're here. So thank you. Anyway, I got a really bad dad joke, by the way.
Okay.
Okay. How do you make a Kleenex dance?
How?
You put a little boogie in it. All right, moving on. All right, next feature.
Now, is that specifically a dad joke, or?
Yeah, it's in the Hall of Fame, I believe. Yeah. Don't ask me, like I know. 2 things. All right, so yeah, we could go on with that. So we saw the remove distractions thing. I think I'll pass on that. I had a cool.
Dennis has grown.
Yeah. Okay. This is definitely worth. I know. Sorry, everybody. I apologize for being me.
But this next feature is not grown worthy.
Not grown worthy at all. You're going to love this. Okay. So what I'm going to do, I love this. I'm going to double click this layer. Boop. Oh,
it says no, you can't.
Sorry. I'm just going to turn it into a layer. So it's a flattened background, and I just double clicked it and turned it into a layer. Okay, you're with me. You know all this stuff already. Okay, so I'm going to, here we go. So I'm in the selection tool. All right, select subject. And we're all familiar with this at this point, I imagine, right? Yes, of course you are. So yeah, I'm going to click cloud. Now, this is the beta version of Photo.
I'll say, which is nice, though. It seems that you have the same option between the options bar up top, also in that contextual taskbar. So one or the other, you can select the subject.
True dat. Yes, you can do it down here too in the contextual taskbar, which is so much.
Which we like to just call taskbar.
I know, right? But it's fun to say contextual taskbar. And now this is the beta version. You'll notice a significant improvement in the selection, the select subject tool. I was probably a little strong in saying that, but that's what I went. I went, holy crap, and I just started dancing around the room.
John's a fan.
I'm a fan. So I'm going to select the subject and look at this.
Wow.
Okay, so I'm going to turn this into a mask. Doink. or you're going to, add a mask to it. You get the idea.
You got to admit that's pretty amazing.
But that's a pretty huge difference.
And of course, there's some little things you got to clean up in the spokes, but it's
Right.
pretty incredible.
But if we were to do this in the current version,
that is not grown worthy.
It is not grown worthy. So I'll just add a little background, little bit of a background to it, so you can see. Oh, I'm sorry, all my stuff, my little windows keep popping up over here. So you just add a great background here, so you can kind of see it against a solid background. But look at that, it did a tremendous job. You can get down in here and you see that it did a great job. Not 100% perfect. Again, got to put in a little bit of work, but I mean, how much time did this just save me in going around all this with the pen tool or whatever, or with your tablet and your drawing? So isn't that amazing? I just yeah, I love that. And so I imagine, I haven't tried this in beta with models or with people or like the hair and stuff, but something tells me it's going to make me dance around the room. And yeah, so that's a great thing. Very exciting. All right, so we have this hottie here, and I named this file Hottie because that is my wife. Look at her, sweet baby. So that's my wife. There's a wedding picture. It's a picture of a picture. And you see, well, that's really lame, dude. Why'd you do that? I took it, but I wanted to illustrate this feature, and you can remove reflections now in, again, the beta version of Photoshop. So you see that I'm gonna make a copy of this. Again, my windows keep popping up over here. I'm gonna make a copy of that, just so I can go back and you see the before and after. All right, so I'm gonna go into camera, so filter and camera raw filter. Yeah, all right, that's great to know because I've got some headshot edits to do this afternoon and or tonight or whatever. And I'm going to try that. So I'm excited. So there's a new feature. You might have seen Colin. A shout out to my man Colin.
Colin Smith.
Colin Smith, Photoshop Cafe. Check out his YouTube channel. So many great friends of ours who are doing these things so much better than I could ever do. So if you go into the eraser tool, there's a new feature in the eraser tool. Right here. Now you may have to go into the technology previews, which is up right here, and
make sure it's turned on.
New AI features. Yeah, you make sure it's turned on. So if it's not, just go up to the little gear here and go to technology previews and make sure that's enabled. Okay. So we have a distraction removal thing here. We can remove reflections. So yeah, that looks great. Let's see. So I'm going to apply that, and over here, it's calculating, but it's doing a pretty good job. But darn, I had another dad joke loaded. That's a shame.
Mika's here.
But I'm not going to have time to tell my other dad joke. So
John, Mika's here. Mika Burke.
Hey, all right. Good to have you, my man. So look at that.
Nice.
It took out those reflections, and so you can see, and you can dial it back. What's kind of funny, this is at 100%, but it took out the reflection completely. There's the original right there. Right there. So you can, oops, thereabouts. So there it is. You can see the reflections. Well, I'm pointing at my screen like an idiot. You can see there's, obviously there's, and then you push that up and it just gets rid of it. Or you can go all the way, if you're strange and you want to keep the reflection, there's the reflection, just the reflection. So that you can see there's some window light and other kind of.
It's wild that it lets you go all the way to that point to see.
I know, it's interesting. So I don't know, you might want to use that for something, who knows? But I just thought that is such a nice feature there. And of course you can go in and camera raw and make all your other adjustments. But I thought that was a really, so there's before, there's after.
Nice.
Pretty nice.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Sweet photo too.
That's it. I'm done.
Quite nice. Okay. So yeah, so the next one is a pretty helpful tip in Photoshop beta. So not sure how long it'll take before it comes into the regular version of Photoshop, but you can always download Photoshop beta. And maybe that's something I should show too. Is, let's see. So there's that view, but if I go up to my Creative Cloud,
Rose.
so just showing you my Creative Cloud app here, maybe make it a little bit bigger. So on the left, you have all apps, you have updates, and I always do the check for updates over here. But underneath categories, if you go down to beta apps, then they're even telling you can get Photoshop beta right here up top. And then mine is already installed. So in my case, the button says open. But as you can see under the other desktop apps, the beta apps, it says install. So you can install any of these. So if you also use Illustrator, there's Illustrator beta, you can just install. There's Premiere Pro beta, Project Neo, which is the 3D vectors for 2D design.
Which is so cool.
Which I believe John has showed in some of our previous lives. Pretty cool. Premiere Rush, Substance 3D Viewer, After Effects, Bridge beta. And I'm not even sure what the features they do have, but maybe I'll install that later today.
That'd be interesting.
But yeah, look at this, keeps going. Audition, Substance 3D, Media Encoder. I don't know how that would be different.
That new Project Indigo looks exciting. I'm checking that out.
Where's that?
For mobile device, Project Indigo.
Is that listed here?
It's not on there, but it's a mobile app. But anyway.
And there's Project Neo, the create 3D vectors. Yeah.
Oh.
But yeah, so, once you install it, it's always listed. So if I go to my updates, you can see what the latest thing I'm updating. But just wanted to show you that's where you get your beta apps, right there in the Adobe Creative Cloud app. And then one thing that I think is a little confusing to people, when you go to the Creative Cloud app, it does have stock and marketplace, discover, all these different things. When you're done with it, you want to get out and jump into any app. Make sure you click the red dot top left. Don't do a Command Q. It'll probably even give you a warning. But if you do a Command Q or Control Q on a PC and you quit the app itself, you're disconnecting Adobe's kind of awareness of you using it.
That's right.
And, you could get double billed. I don't know.
Oh, I guess good on that.
Yeah. The main thing is, you just close it with the little red dot. Yeah. Okay, but here I am in Photoshop beta. You might see in the top left, just an image. And then I'll just do a Command J. So what I wanted to show, in general, when you want to open up any panel, you go to Window. So think of Window, you're looking through the window to find something. So you go to Window, and then first you can also arrange if you have multiple images, and you can also go to different workspaces, kind of presets, or create your own. So if somebody else was using your Photoshop and it looked like that, and you have the different panels open, once you've made your own workspace, choose your name, you go back to the way that you like to work. So that's always helpful. But beyond that, there's all these different panels. And so if I go to Actions, this is the Actions panel. So
yeah, you're the action master.
That's right. So this little color variety is the actions that I've created throughout the years. So as an example, just a simple duplicate that I tend to do a lot. And then you can adjust and this is here. Good to see you.
All right. So good to have you.
And then as you can see, I added a little keyboard shortcut. So if I hit F13, I can duplicate any image and then, change the name and do whatever I want to do with the image. And then I have different kind of like presets for, creating art or 1080 by 1080 images, or for reels, banners, or, other art. And then if I do a selection, I can do a crop, composite layer, etc. If I click on guides, it automatically gives me a centered vertical and horizontal guide. And then I also have one where I can just say clear guides. So, you create your own things that you tend to do a lot. So I have like saturation, dodge and burn layers, high pass sharpening, on chart paths, and then, etc. But the thing I wanted to show you was beyond using these actions that you can color code, etc., which you can get over here under the thing. You can see, it says actions or classic actions. This is a Photoshop beta. If I go over to suggested on the left, it's very different. So now you can see that there's a whole bunch of text actions. So here it says enhance contrast, and just by hovering, you see that it adds over in the layers panel a brightness and contrast adjustment layer, and creates like another layer with a smart sharpen and a high pass added to it. Yeah, I mean, you can get crazy with actions, like Lance says, and create action that runs various actions.
Right.
But the main thing I wanted to show was the new in the Photoshop beta, this whole feature where the suggested ones, just by hovering, you can get these different things. So, remove background and crop. So if I click on it, so you can say continue on device or default to cloud. I'll continue on device so it's fast.
Andrew, got a question for you from Rose.
And then I turn that off. You can see it's knocked the background out. Yep.
Our lovely Rose. Hi, Rose. She had a good question about the beta applications. How long do you have the free trial?
So the beta is ongoing. So once you install the beta, the main thing to do that I like to do is go back to the Creative Cloud. I go to updates, click check for updates in the top right, and just make sure you're up to date with not only the beta versions, but the regular versions of the different apps, such as Photoshop 2025. So I do that, almost daily, but it's ongoing. And so, like I said, if you go back to beta apps, you can install any of these for free, and just see what's being released. And a lot of times when you do the updates too, they will tell you a little summary of what has been added.
That's nice.
In this view, it's just, well, here it does say this update includes improved actions, updates to the remove tool, and performance enhancements. So yeah, they give you a little summary, but yeah, it's ongoing. So
that's perfectly answered. And I want to correct me if I'm wrong, but it's you can use the beta like for all time, but when the beta version moves into the main version, like Photoshop non-beta, you know what I mean?
Right.
Then I guess whatever is before that, the pre-release will become the beta. Is that?
Well, I would think of it more as there are features in Photoshop beta that will get approved for, say, Photoshop 2025, or in our case, probably more like Photoshop 2026, maybe being released during Photoshop Adobe Max in October. And what will happen is when they are approved, Photoshop beta doesn't go away or anything. It just will have new features.
Another before.
Right.
We'll take
a new slew of features that it wants to.
That's what I was trying to say. I don't.
No problem. So, but yeah, so the thing I wanted to showcase was under the suggested section, as opposed to your actions. You have all these suggested things that it can do based on your image. Then there's featured essentials, where if you click, it would do that, like even rotate, which is weird. And then you can also go to the top where it says search for more actions. And then it has different groupings. Select the subject, remove the background, enhance colors, crop the image, make it pop. Now, I'm wondering how specific it can get. So I'm just curious if I say add S-curve, if it'll understand that.
Oh, yeah.
So it does say curves, S-curve.
Nice.
So the minute I click on that, I don't know. Yeah, there's a slight change. So you see that the content. So if I double click to see it, you will now see. You'll now see the points that it made to make a S-curve. So it's like a subtle. You need to make the fish inside the basketball swim. Different program here. We're in Photoshop, not Adobe Firefly Video.
But now I want to try it.
Right. So that's what we'll have to do. Me and John will have to do in another Adobe Firefly Live soon. Team that we are. But yeah, so as you can see here, just a simple type in what you want, and then it gives you even a variety of, there's curves, there's even a strong S curve. And then if you don't like it, you can always just click and drag it down to the trash can. You can go back, double click, you can go back to the curved points and then, bump them a little bit to your own preference. But the main thing I just wanted to show was there's a new kind of magic with actions where you have all of your, if I click to X to get out, you have suggested actions, featured essentials, and then if you go to the search, you can pretty much dial into anything that you want to do as long as it's a feature in Photoshop Beta. So, yeah. So
Bravo.
Pretty cool features in Photoshop and Photoshop Beta.
Yeah.
So thanks everyone for watching. Thanks so much, John.
Thank you. I enjoyed it immensely.
Yeah.
See everybody.
Yeah, always some good things to share. Thanks everyone for being here.
Oh, good. Got to share some dad jokes. One more dad joke before
sure.
the road.
One more dad joke for the weekend.
One more for the road. Happy Father's Day weekend, everybody. And so, why can't you hear a psychiatrist using the bathroom? This is kind of a. Why can't you hear a psychiatrist using the bathroom? Because the P is silent. Because the P.
So I think Anissa meant this for something else, but she said absolutely.
I'm glad. Thank you for that support. And
have a great weekend. Yeah, we got everyone saying thank you, thanks.
Thank you.
Have a great weekend.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you for coming. Have a great weekend. Have a great weekend. Happy Father's Day.
Happy Father's Day weekend. Yeah.
Thanks to you both. So yeah, thanks everybody. And of course, so we got to share a little bit of our socials.
Oh yeah, don't forget the stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. So as usual, for the recording, look at the top of my Facebook page or business page, which will give you the link to my recording on my YouTube channel, as well as in the Photoshop and Lightroom groups and the AI Art digital art group at the top under the featured section will be a link to the recording. But let me share a few links here. So yeah, so that will be shared to my, let me see, Andrew and John. There we go. So first is you can find John everywhere through Linktree. So Linktr Pixelingo.
Find me everywhere. That's kind of scary.
Find John everywhere.
He's everywhere.
Linktree. And that has what, John? Your Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn?
Yeah, that's it. And my website.
And his website.
Yeah.
And then, as I said, for the recording, you could also subscribe for more AI art, digital art, Photoshop, live streams and tutorials at youtube.com/@TrueCav. And feel free to watch a lot of the previous lives. I need some of that watch time hours for my channel. That's at youtube.com/@TrueCav. Or if you go to YouTube and you just do a simple search, just search for Drew Cav on YouTube. Please consider following me on Facebook. Facebook has gotten into this pattern where they've been teasing me for the last year, where I'm at like 5,900 and something followers.
Oh.
So it won't let me get to 6,000. So what'll happen is that it'll go up, and then like the next day or even later that evening, it'll go down a few. So it's always going up and down, up and down. So that's been going on for a year now. So feel free to share my Facebook profile and try to push me over 6,000. I don't think it can be done though. Facebook likes to tease me.
You hit the wall. You hit the Facebook wall.
And then you can find me on Instagram, Drew_Cav_. And then you can also follow me on my Digital Artist Drew Cav page on Facebook, facebook.com/digitalartistdrew. And then in terms of the groups, do come and join the AI Art and Digital Art group, facebook.com/groups, AI Art Digital Art, or the Photoshop and Lightroom group, facebook.com/groups, the Photoshop and Lightroom group. So yeah, thanks everybody for coming. Appreciate it. Thanks everybody. Christina, Art. So,
Happy Friday the 13th.
Yep. Have a good one. Happy Friday 13th. Have a great weekend. Thanks everyone for watching, and keep an eye on the top of the groups for the recordings, as well as notifications for any contests, special events, and new live events coming up. Thanks everybody.
Thank you. Bye.
Have a good one.